A grieving widow's life changes forever when she discovers an abandoned baby on her daily park bench and the mysterious stranger who claims to know its mother. Mildred Thompson's arthritis flared as she settled onto her usual park bench, the cold metal biting through her thin coat. At 68, her mornings always began here watching pigeons peck at crumbs while her hands clutched the framed photo of Harold. Gone 3 years now. The autumn leaves swirled around her orthopedic shoes like memories she couldn't quite grasp. "Ma'am," a young jogger paused, eyeing her frayed sweater. "You need help?" Mildred waved him off with a trembling hand. She didn't need pity. Not since the nursing home bills ate through her savings, leaving her in that cramped studio above Mr. Chen's pharmacy. Not since her own children stopped calling. A sharp cry sliced through her thoughts. Mildred squinted at the bundle beneath the maple tree. Surely just trash. But when it wailed again, she heaved herself up, knees protesting every step. The pink blanket held a baby, no more than 6 months old, with a shock of black hair and eyes like Harold's had been. A note fluttered to the ground. "Her name is Grace. Please love her when I can't." Mildred's heart pounded as she grabbed the child. "There now, little Gracie," she roped, surprised at how naturally the words came. The baby quieted instantly, tiny fingers curling around Mildred's wrinkled thumb. "That's my granddaughter." The deep voice startled her. A silver-haired man in a police uniform stood nearby, his gaze fixed on Grace. "Her mother, my daughter, is in trouble." His voice broke. "I've been looking everywhere." Mildred clutched Grace tighter. Something about this didn't feel right. The officer's eyes were too sharp, his posture too tense for a relieved grandfather. As he stepped closer, Mildred spotted at the glint of a badge that didn't quite look real. "Give her to me," he demanded, all pretense of kindness gone. The pigeons scattered as Mildred turned, shielding Grace with her body. For the first time since Harold's funeral, she had something to fight for. Mildred's heart hammered against Grace's tiny body as she scanned the park. The fake officer lunged, but she sidestepped with agility she didn't know she still possessed. Her old nurse's training kicking in. "Help," she cried, her voice cracking. A teenage couple walking their bulldog turned at the commotion. "Everything all right, ma'am?" the girl called. The imposter froze, then melted into the morning foot traffic. Mildred sank onto the bench, Grace cooing innocently in her arms. At the police station, Detective Marcus O'Connor took their statement. His strong hands carefully examined the blanket as Grace gummed his pen. "This blanket's expensive," he murmured, monogrammed with a V, likely from Billacrest, that fancy maternity hospital uptown. Mildred's breath caught. "My Harold. He was a janitor there before he passed." Marcus's green eyes softened. "We'll need to keep Grace safe while we investigate. Child services can—" "No," the word tore from Mildred's throat. "I'll care for her. Just until you find her mother." To her surprise, Marcus nodded. "My shift ends at 6. I'll bring formula and diapers." That night, as Mildred rocked Grace in Harold's old recliner, she noticed the faint scar on Marcus's hand when he handed her a bottle. "Knife wound," he explained, "from when my marriage ended. Badly." Their eyes met over Grace's sleepy head. "Seems we've both known loneliness," Mildred whispered. When Grace awoke crying at 2 a.m., Mildred found Marcus still in her kitchen, brewing tea. "Couldn't sleep," he admitted. Together, they paced the tiny apartment, taking turns soothing the baby, sharing stories of loss and the quiet ache of empty nests. Over the next week, Marcus became part of their fragile routine. Each evening, he arrived with groceries and baby supplies, his squad car parked conspicuously outside to deter the fake officer. Mildred noticed how Grace's eyes lit up at his voice, how naturally he riled her during midnight feedings. "Found something," Marcus announced one night, spreading files across Mildred's kitchen table. Grace slept nearby in a donated bassinet. Villacrest had a break-in 3 months back, medications stolen, including fertility drugs. Then last month, a wealthy couple reported a surrogate vanished with their embryo. Mildred's teacup rattled in its saucer. "You think Grace's a stolen baby?" "Possibly." Marcus rubbed his temples. "The fake officer matches the description of their head of security. If he's covering this up." A knock interrupted them. Marcus answered to find Mrs. Chen from downstairs, holding a casserole. "For the little one," she said, peering at Grace. "My sister runs the women's shelter." She recognized that blanket. Mildred's hand shook as Mrs. Chen explained a young woman had come to the shelter pregnant. Terrified of her employers, she worked as their maid until they— Mrs. Chen lowered her voice. "Until they forced her to carry their child." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Where is she now?" Suddenly, headlights swept the room. Through the blinds, Mildred spotted the fake officer's car idling below. Marcus drew his gun. "Take Grace into the bathroom. Lock it." As footsteps pounded up the stairs, Mildred realized Grace wasn't just a temporary joy, she was the key to something dark, and they'd all become players in a dangerous game. The door burst open as Mildred huddled with Grace in the bathtub, her body shielding the baby. Gunshots cracked 1-2, followed by a thud. "Mildred," Marcus called. "It's safe." She emerged to find the imposter handcuffed on the floor, his fake badge glinting mockingly. Marcus pressed a handkerchief to his bleeding arm. "Backup's coming." He confessed everything. The man sneered. "That child belongs to the Reynolds family. their DNA, their money paying for. She's a person, not property, Mildred snapped, Grace's warmth against her chest fueling her courage. When police arrived, Marcus revealed the truth. The Reynolds, a powerful pharmaceutical couple, had coerced their maid into surrogacy using stolen embryos, then panicked when she fled. Grace's mother is at the shelter, Mildred realized. We have to protect her. Marcus nodded, his gaze lingering on Grace. We will, together. At the shelter, they found Leela, barely 19, with Grace's same dark curls. When Mildred placed Grace in her arms, the girl sobbed. I wanted to keep her, but they threatened deportation. Marcus promised asylum. As Leela recounted her ordeal, Mildred saw the detective's hardened exterior crack and something tender take its place. Driving home, Marcus surprised them. The Reynolds will fight. You'll both need sanctuary. He turned onto a tree-lined street, stopping at a cozy bungalow. My place has an extra room. Mildred's protest died when she saw the nursery he'd secretly prepared, complete with Harold's photo on the dresser. Family protects family, Marcus said simply. 6 months later, Mildred sat in a sunlit courtroom holding Grace's tiny hand as the judge finalized the adoption. Leela beamed from the gallery, now safe under witness protection. Marcus squeezed Mildred's shoulder, his badge shining beside Harold's old tie clip she'd given him. The Reynolds lawyer stormed out as the gavel fell. Congratulations, Grandma. The clerk smiled. Mildred's eyes filled. She'd never thought to hear that word again. That evening, their unusual family gathered in Marcus's garden, now Mildred's garden too. Leela fed Grace strawberries while Marcus tended the grill. She'll grow up knowing all her mothers, he said, passing Mildred a lemonade, the one who gave her life, and the one who gave her love. As fireflies twinkled, Grace toddled between them, giggling when she collapsed into Marcus's lap. He produced a small box. For you, he told Mildred. Inside was a silver locket engraved Mother of my heart. You've made us a family, Marcus said gruffly. Leela nodded, tears in her eyes. Mildred clasped the locket, its weight perfect against her chest. At the edge of the yard, Harold's rosebush transplanted from her old apartment bloomed riotously. Years later, when Grace graduated high school, she'd tell the story of how a lonely widow on a park bench became the glue that held their patchwork family together. And Mildred would smile, remembering how love arrived not with a bang, but with a baby's cry and the courage to answer it.